John, tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are.
Okay, so I am John William Soria, a Filipino seafarer I've been sailing for like 5 years now. And the very, very first time I sailed, I was on a container ship. So my story of for being a seafarer is it's like a normal one. Most of the Filipinos, if you'd say, we're not really that, who aspired really to become one. And coming from a family who is also, whose background also, I've got a lot of uncles who are seafarers. Also, my dad was. My dad was a seafarer. They sailed for like maybe 20, 30 years. Some of them are captains, some of them are chief engineers. That's why I really have this strong background of seafaring. But when I was in secondary, when I was in high school, I really didn't think about getting into seafaring because I know how it feels like to be a son of a seafarer. I don't want to be, away from the family. I don't want to be away from my kids very, very soon if I don't become a dad because it's not going to be easy. That is why I started to dream of becoming a lawyer. So when I was in secondary, I really dreamt of becoming a lawyer. So that's why I took a program, this accounting program, which is like a prerequisite into taking law. But then things happen. We've got a family problem, which was that time put me in I was really cornered by that problem. Could not anymore think of anything aside from getting into seafaring. So that's why I was forced by by that circumstance, I would say, to become a seafarer. So I took that 3 years in school, 1 year for cadetship. That would take this 4 year course in our Philippine seafaring maritime structure. That's it. And I'm very glad because during that time when I was in college, I was able to take this exam for this certain company, and I got hired, or like I got a placement for becoming their cadet after I would finish school. When I finished the 3 years of theoretical in school, the company called me. They let me have this 4 months training before putting me on sea for this 1 year contract as cadet. Yeah, and what else? So I just took the exam. So luckily I passed. That was yesterday. It was very difficult. Our percentage was just like the passing rate was just very small. So out of like 90 people or like 90 um, people who took the exam, only nine passed. So that's less than, I guess that's 7%, 7, 8%. Thank you so much. So yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay.
John, I hear what you say that you were cornered in one place. It's a very strong word, actually. I would like to know a little bit more why you felt cornered when you were.
Yeah, I chose that word because I guess that's the most appropriate, as I would say, because it was really my desire to become an accountant and to become a lawyer afterwards. It's like 10 years ago I set that strong goal for myself that I would really become one. I would really become a lawyer. But then everything happened when we found out my dad was having an affair with somebody else. To the point that he left us, that he didn't go back to us. he uh he was also seafarer. He was a bosun, by the way. And I guess that was 8, 9 years ago, 2013. So yeah, something like that. So that was the time when I personally found out that he was having an affair with somebody. And it was like a torture in the family because months before I found out that he was doing that thing, we were like left hanging because as a family we didn't really think that he could do such a thing. Me as the the eldest of four, I would really say I grew up with a family whose father is, like the best dad ever, I would say. That's why those months prior to knowing that he's doing that, we didn't really have um the suspicion that he was doing that thing. The moment he gave me the phone, I asked him a phone, like I told him, Dad, I got something from school. Like, I guess that was like an achievement. Can you give me like a gift? So he gave me that phone where I was able to find and read that message, sending that message to his mistress. And it broke me, really. It broke my heart so much to the point that I wouldn't, I don't know that. I didn't know that time how I would deal with that thing. The very first thing that came to my mind was my mom. For sure, she would not be able to deal that thing, to deal with the effect of that thing. So I asked for my auntie's advice as to how would I be able to do it. So she said that she will help me talk with my mom slowly, so that she'll be able as well to understand and digest the things. And yeah, so my auntie talked with my mom slowly, so a bit by bit, and yeah, she cried a lot for sure. Although I didn't hear because I was in Cebu. Our house is in Bohol, like an island away. I didn't hear, but for sure she cried a lot to the point that after we knew that some informations about the the thing that my dad was doing. So my mom lost like 10 kilos, so that's like 20 pounds just because of that ordeal that we've undergone. So that was the thing that made me, I would say, cornered, I guess. Yeah. But right now, since I already finished maritime degree, and whenever I talk with somebody, especially Y, I talked with Y, and Y also has this goal also of, achieving something. Maybe I also he also likes to become a lawyer, and he told me it's not yet too late for you to become one. You we can still both chase that dream. He said maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't, I don't know yet, he said, but he's close to getting that. He's close to chasing that that becoming a lawyer dream.
Wow. Well, what can I say? I did this job for as a seafarer for 12 years, a job that I didn't like at all. And if it inspires you at all, at 29, I took a PhD. After being a ship captain, I decided to leave because that was not something that I was meant to do. And like you, although not in a situation like yours, um, it was it was 11 years of a job that I never thought I would survive even one day. But yeah, so if you genuinely believe you want to be a lawyer, you have to put all your energy in and your heart into it, and I'm sure you will be, and you're doing great. I'm so pleased with seeing your aspirations and energy. John, tell me a little bit about your initial days at sea. How did you join sea? How did you find the life at sea?
Okay. Remember that time when I told you I was hired, I got the placement from this certain company. So they put us under this 4-month training in their company here in Manila. So I undertook that together with the other 24 people with the same batch as I was. And we were sent to sea at the same time. So that was 2016 last quarter. So I joined my very first vessel in 2016 October. I was very lucky because I got on board on the 22nd. My birthday was on the 30th, so I spent my first birthday at sea during my first contract days after I got there. My first weeks were, I would say, were hell. I could, well, I would say I'm really weak with regards to big waves, and I'm really easily getting seasick. So, the trade route of the vessel was Asia. So we were trading Taiwan, Korea, going down to Vietnam, Singapore, Malaysia, going back up to Taiwan, and the cycle continues. So we were only like a liner on those terminals or ports. So I joined in Taiwan and going to Korea. So October waves in South China Sea are really big, but those are South China Sea during Amihan or Northeast monsoon waves are really big. So if coming from Malaysia going back to Taiwan, 3 days of hell. So like 3 days of throwing up to the point I would throw up green particles. I don't know what else was I throwing up. And the other thing that made it harder was the chief mate. So remember that story I told you about him depriving the people, especially me as a cadet. He wouldn't he wouldn't see me as a person, I would say. He would like, although we're of the same race, we're of the same nationalities, he was also Filipino, but he would treat me as someone who's really under everybody else. Even for the internet um, consumption or for you the usage, he would not let me in because he said I don't deserve don't deserve wannabe, you know. And there was this one time when we were in Busan, South Korea. So we were alongside their new terminal there. The vessel was just like few meters away from the so-called Seaman's Club, where I could somehow get used for this Wi-Fi service, which was free in that place. I asked him after 15 hours of straight duty in gangway. I asked him, Chief, I'm now done with my 15 hours duty. Can I go out and maybe take some time, call call family back in the Philippines? Just it's already like 3 weeks, 2 weeks. I didn't get any message or information from the house. He said no. He responded quickly, no, because why? I told him because I guess my duty's finished. The 15 hours is it's not easy, so I guess it's somehow a reward for me as well, since I don't have any, since it's my free time. He said. I didn't expect that he would tell me, what do you like? Would you like me to give you another job order? So I just went silent and responded to him with respect still. I told him, okay, chief, if that's what you want, I'm just gonna go back to my quarter and just sleep and wait for my next duty. I told him. But as I as I went inside my room, I just cried because I really didn't think, or I didn't expect that he would do that thing to to not let me go outside. What's that thing that's gonna be taken from him if he would let me go out, right? There's nothing, there's no effort. That's just easy to say yes, I guess, because everything's already done. But I didn't expect. I just didn't expect. That's why I cried, and I just really missed the family back then. That was 2 weeks of not reaching out with them. And yeah, so October, November, December. January. So 4 months of having that same route, of that southeast route there. And the vessel was um the vessel was subjected to a, what do you call this, overhauling something. So the charter ended, and we were sent to Shanghai, China, for this emergency overhauling of the engine. So from, I guess, January last week until March first week, we were in the shipyard. During those time when we were in the shipyard, there were also some rumors that we'll be getting the next charter after 6 months. So they did the jobs in the shipyard slowly. That's why it took like almost 2 months, or like 1.5 months in in Shanghai shipyard. And in 2017 February, last week, I guess that was 28th. Yeah, I guess that was 28th of February. I met that accident. So we were in shipyard. The thing that happened there was, I really didn't get it that time, because we were only four, I guess 4 or 5 people were left to be doing things on board. So the people who were left there was just chief mate, AB, myself, chief engineer, and cook, for everything to be running, and for and so that somebody would be overseeing things that were being done on the ship, because we're in shipyard. Captain and the rest of the crew were sent home because the company wanted to put the vessel on a skeletal, I don't know, skeletal manning, whatever, because of that um, charter to be 6 months. Right? That's the that's the forecast from the owners. So having that five-man team on deck, were only two, AB and I. So being the cadet, so I was like, AB was pointing this, do this and that, and also Chief Mate was pointing, do this and that. So on that very day of the accident, I would say I was really lucky. Prior to the days prior to that accident, I would really, since that's February, going summer, so that's it's like the weather's getting hot. So I would normally not put this chin strap of the helmet. But on that day, somebody, I guess, whispered on me. That somebody told me, "Hey, kindly put on the chin strap. Something might happen later." So I put on the chin strap, and after lunchtime, so we had a lunch, and after lunchtime, Chief Mate told the deck guys to do something inside this anti-healing tank. So a bunch of DNVGL surveyors, they were checking the tanks, and they found out that this certain tank, they wanted be cleaned be derusted and be cleaned. That's why after lunch, Chief Mate told me, and also the AB, that we'd be doing after lunchtime that thing that the surveyors were telling about this anti-healing tank. So my job that time was just to really bring this certain chemical down to that tank, and AB will be the one to do the job. I'm just gonna get this chemical from Bosun store and hand it to AB. The chemical is the, what they call this, rust converter. He will just wipe it on the surface, and chem and chemical process happens. That's it. So it's just really my job that time. So good thing I got my helmet on with the light, headlight, not that so much, a dim light from the headlight. I would say it was my first time though to be entering that kind of environment. I would say that's an enclosed space, or I'm not supposed to be there. and I learned that after. So I was supposed to be not going inside that tank, but what else could I do? We're just only two, and there was, I guess, nothing for me to say to chief mate, given the given the attitude and the character of the chief mate. I wouldn't say no. So I just really um that my in my mind I would just think that I need to have this job done. So I took the chemical with me from the bosun store, went down to the engine, bringing with me the chemical, going down this vertical ladder, going inside this tank. So I was just really, I was, I was even amazed at first. I told to myself, "Oh, this is how it looks like." So I would only see some enclosed space during the CBT computer-based, trainings and some other stuff online. That was my first time to be seeing that dark, muddy, you smelly environment. So, okay, with my headlight on, something like that. The place was not properly lit, I would say. The manhole, there was no light. The light that I was only bringing was this headlight. And from that vertical ladder where I was standing, where I was getting a glimpse of what was really inside, I could see from that point that AB was doing the thing, doing the rusting and you know doing his job done. So from there, since that was a tank and some manholes, I guess two more manholes before I could get to AB. So I I was making my way to AB. So I I went inside this first manhole, and after I went inside, I didn't realize that I was stepping on a lump of mud, which was beside the edge of another for beside the edge of that manhole. So as I went inside, I slipped. So I slipped because of that lump of mud that I stepped on, which was also on the edge of the manhole. And after that, nothing else followed. I could only see, I could remember I could only see darkness. I don't know if I could see darkness, but there was nothing I could see that time. I could just feel my feet wet and cold. I could just hear somebody else upstairs screaming, calling my name. I could just hear some static on the radio. And during that time, when I recalled what was happening, I could somehow like puzzle up the bit by bit of information that I was upstairs like a moment ago. Why am I now inside this dark environment? I don't know, where am I? That was those were the things that were running through my mind. And somebody else really was crying my name. And when I opened my eyes, I could see a beam of light. I guess that was from from the flashlight of AB and third mate, who was rushing down to get me downstairs. And I was still processing things when they approached me. I guess the, the elapsed time was 10 minutes. That was from AB's statement when when I asked him late afterwards. I guess I waited for like 10 minutes down there. I was unconscious for those 10 minutes. AB was it was difficult for him to find a way down because, well, that's anti-healing tank, and he was also not familiar with the place. So the moment AB and third mate got on my position where I was lying, that they they assisted me. Since that was anti-healing tank and there was still a water left, right? When you pump out everything from the ballast tank. So I guess half of my body was submerged, and I was just like hanging on this metal frames down there. I was just like this, and the water was already here, and I could feel half my body was cold and wet. So they assisted me up to the point I realized something was aching down there on my right foot. So I told him something's aching. It pains me when you when you would assist me in getting up. Can you just put me put me somewhere I could just maybe sit down? They touched my body. I could feel some pain. I even have some some bruises and um, open wound on my eye. So they touched my body. I guess they were looking for something, maybe broken bones or what. I told them, I told AB that I guess everything on the upper part are good. Can you check my foot because I'm really starting to feel the pain. So left foot was everything was okay. What on the right foot? The moment he touched it, I screamed very very loudly because I felt hell. I guess that's, the bone was really ripped and torn into pieces. That's why the moment he touched it, it was really painful. So I told him, I guess I got broken bones. Just don't touch it anymore. And I was already crying. I couldn't believe I was able to survive that. You know, with the things running through my mind, I could still not process why I was there. With the broken bone I got down there, everything happened in just like a glimpse, in a short time. And so yeah, I needed to go through with it. So they had to bring me back on deck. What they did was it was like a 4 hour operation to just get me out from the anti-healing tank back up to main deck because that was a small vessel. Holes are very small. Also, the doors are small going up. So what they did, and also another thing was I could remember since we were just on like an emergency overhauling, right? So I guess we were on a we were alongside a very big tanker. Our vessel was just like 9,900 gross tonnage, 120 meters long. So that's just a very very small vessel compared to I guess we were alongside a 300-meter vessel. So we were like a banker to that vessel. We were alongside, so we were not alongside the port. We were alongside the vessel. So the moment they put me on deck, they had to make a way again or do some operation to bring me from main deck to the port. So what they did was they took again like a mobile crane near that big tanker on the port and have me taken near to the port. So that's how they did it. Ambulance and medical team were down there waiting for me to, get me to the hospital. And I guess you've read as well the a bit of the story from my Facebook post. So it took me like 8 days to wait for the operation because there were a series of holidays in China that time. So I was again in hell for like 8 days because I was only put under this painkiller for those 8 days. I was not operated yet. To the point that early in the morning, 2 to 4 a.m., the effect of the painkiller would already subside and the pain would already start to. I could already start to feel the pain, and that's the alarm for me that time. Alarm to to wake me up that hey, you need to wake up, wait, and be in hell again, and wait until 8 a.m. for you to get your painkiller. Those were really hellish days for me. Until that day, I got the and one more thing. On the very first day I was on the hospital, agent came to me. he was already able to speak with the doctor. He told me the the dreadest thing I was able to hear of. He told me the condition of your foot was already severe. We could not anymore do to save it. I guess we're just gonna amputate you. I he told me that, and I heard that right from him telling me right to my face that they're going to just amputate my foot because they could not anymore do to help me, fix whatever was broken down there. I was really shocked to the point I cried again. Because what? Why? Where? Could you not do anything? And then moment I cried, so agent went back went back out and maybe talked with the doctor. And the moment he came back, he told me, or maybe there's a way we can try. He told me, but we're gonna wait for like a week because no surgeons available up until next week. He told me. I said, okay, we're just gonna wait then. That is why I waited for like 8 days, and surgery day happened. Never in my life was I confined in an hospital. That was the very first time I was confined with IV injected on me. So a lot of first times happened during that time. Surgery as well. And surgery happened, everything was done. So I waited for like 3 weeks after the surgery for the doctor to give me the clearance to fly. They didn't give me at the right away the clearance because I was still in pain, and they needed to make sure that the moment I fly, everything is somewhat like not anymore, severe or
Sorry, my internet connection dropped, John. It was um, yes. So we were. Yeah, tell me, where did we stop?
where did we stop? I guess I was already in the hospital after the surgery. So
Yes, you were. Yes. I just wanted to. I didn't want to interrupt you at that time, but good, we took a small break. Can you tell us which hospital was it? Which country was it? Sorry.
China, Shanghai. I was in Shanghai when it happened.
Oh, okay. So yeah, please continue. So you were. You said you were 10 days in the hospital.
Yeah, it took me, I guess, 2 weeks after the surgery. So 8 days before I got the surgery, plus over 2 weeks, I guess, of waiting post surgery. I was waiting in the hospital before the doctor gave me the clearance to fly. So yeah, I guess that was a little less than a month in the hospital. To the point I was on the fifth floor of the hospital. I could see the branches of the trees getting leaves because that was already like a spring to summer. And the moment I got out from the hospital, having my way to the airport, was really happy to be able to see other people because I guess I was deprived to seeing other people for that duration of time. I could only see my nursing aide, the nurses, the doctors who were checking on me on a daily basis. Yeah, the moment I got out, I was really, really happy. And I was also happy knowing that my family was waiting for my arrival. They were here in Manila that time. The moment I saw my mom when we landed, I couldn't as well contain the happiness and the mixture of sadness because I saw her already crying. I was on a wheelchair. Somebody was assisting me. An airport personnel was assisting me, having my way, you know, taking my way out from the airport. And yeah, everything. Well, I could say I'm still lucky, having this second chance to leave. I already, I'm taking the second life really. And the the moment I survived from that accident, a lot of things. I learned really a lot of things out from it. First is safety, really. Maybe a lot of people would just um, take it for granted the moment they would see safety first on wherever walls they would see, on wherever walls on board a ship they would see it. A lot of people would just take it for granted. They would not take it seriously. But the moment I, but the moment I learned how powerful to know that statement is, I already I would really make sure that my crewmate would also follow the safety protocols and procedures. I would tell them my experience and the things I had undergone so that they would, take heed on the advice that I would be giving them about safety, especially helmet. Helmet, that really saved my life. If maybe I didn't put on that chin strap the moment I did, maybe I'm not anymore here for sure. Because I couldn't imagine that was 8 meters deep down. I fell, and I guess it wouldn't be easy for somebody to survive that 8 meter fall without any helmets on, for sure. That is why, yeah, safety really is. We should really not take it for granted. And next is your relationship with other people, especially in board. It could really affect whatever you're doing on board. A simple um a simple advice of, or a simple moment to take time talking with your subordinates, it would already mean a lot to them. I could say that because I told you, first first time I got on a vessel, it was really hell because of my um senior officers. Though I didn't really tell them right away or right on their face because there are also a lot of things I'm weighing in. I also don't want to, well, if you studied our culture, um, we would take things seriously and personally. If I would um, if I would say negatively to you, if you're a Filipino officer, he wouldn't take it as an advice or as an friendly suggestion. He would not take it positively. Instead, he would take it negatively. Well, Filipinos do it. Even I myself, sometimes I couldn't um, get myself out from it because I guess that's already embedded in us. Although that's really really wrong. I'm very I'm very fortunate. I got this um, training, which was given by the company. Cultural differences and how to deal with people with certain cultures, something like that. So that was like an eye opener for me as well. Why I was able to get that with me? So because we were in the same batch. we're able to, as a Filipino who is immersed in an environment where a lot of people are coming from different cultures, and if we want to succeed in this industry, in this kind of, in this line of work, we also must know the cultural differences, how to deal with certain, you know, certain people with that kind of culture. How do we able to lessen the or mitigate the the conflict after? That's it. So yeah, going back to the story, I learned that's the second thing I learned. A little or just a little time talking with your subordinate. That's really a great thing for them. And I could also say that since we are on a ship in a in an environment where we're like forced to sail on a vessel for like we're forced to stay there maybe for 2 weeks. We could only see horizon and the same face every day. We couldn't do anything but just um, maintain. We have to maintain the um, good relationship with them by for sure talking with them. Mm. What else did I learn? Thirdly, whenever I would become, a senior officer soon, I wouldn't do the things that my previous senior officers did because I myself was I I experienced it firsthand, the effect. And I guess I experienced the worst effect if a certain senior officer would do those things that I was able to experience with those senior officers I've had. So yeah, I hope I could somehow influence as well other people on same generation as I am to change it, to change the old ways of the conventional seafarers, and to really take time, you know, to to make sure that everything and everyone is safe on board. Um, I guess I'm done. What else you want to know?
No, it's your story. What comes to mind, John, is that just one question actually. What do you think? I mean, if we were to go back to that situation, um, what do you think was the cause of this accident or the causes of this accident?
I guess the first thing that would come to my mind if I'd be asked that question, risk assessment. Risk assessment was really not done during that time, I would say. So the hazards were not known, the potential threats were not known. And the moment we were caught in that situation where somebody already fell and broke a foot, everybody was already panicking. They wouldn't know what to do because we were not prepared because risk assessment was not done. Maybe the chief officer did it on the paper, but not on the actual.
So you said risk assessment was not done. Um, Tell me, how is the risk assessment done today on board your ships? How do you do that risk assessment?
For normal operations, I would say normal operations, the things that we do daily. So we would just have it signed because it's done daily. But prior to that, we already had a meeting about this certain task. But if it's already repeatedly done, then there's no more, daily meeting about how to derust or whatever. But if there is a certain job order that is really, really critical, some senior officers I've had before, they would really make sure everybody is um, what do you call this? We would have a meeting about it. He would make sure that everybody involved in that certain job order knows what they have to do. That's how we do it now. If I would compare it the with the accident I've got, I could not remember chief mate, or yeah, there was no meetings made. I didn't know what to do the moment I would go inside. So I was just sent there for me. I was just sent there with me, not no, no background or no idea of what to meet down there. If maybe a meeting or an assessment, risk assessment, and a toolbox meeting were just done, I guess I could have avoided meeting that accident.
So coming back to the question, John, uh, help me understand how is a toolbox talk and a risk assessment done today on board your ship? How do you do it?
Okay. So before we do that certain critical job, we would have a meeting in the ship's office. So after the duty of chief mate, after 8 o'clock, so he would go go down to the ship's office. Deck guys or the deck team is already waiting for him. So we would talk. For example, the critical job order would be to um, work in a loft. So we would be working a loft. So the parties involved, bosun will be the one to, delegate the task as to who will be on the stage, who will be up there, assistant. The last time I was just on OS, so I was just assistant. AB and bosun will be on stage, and the way we did the way we did the risk assessment and toolbox meeting would be to there's a checklist. So we would be we would need to know every item on the checklist, and we would also be um, given the somehow the procedure as to what's the first thing to do. After that, what we will do next, until we would be able to completely do the job or the task. That's how we do it now. Good thing because I've got great senior officers lately, and I've been learning a lot from them as well.
Anything else in the risk assessment that you do apart from that?
So since primarily that's for the safety of everybody, right? Uh, we would also sign the form after everybody's introduced to the things that we need to do. So we would sign the form, and after we complete the job, we would also, no, not anymore. Yeah, I guess there's still, right, in the company with the SMS procedures. I guess there's still a form after the job is done. We would sign again. Yeah.
Great. I will stop the recording.